Hello everyone and welcome back to another AFK Journey video. In today's video we're going to be going through the best teams for the Alpha Bear Dream Realm boss. There are 4 different teams which have executed the Alpha Bear boss on epic difficulty. It's kind of a little bit easier than the previous bosses we've had to execute because now we're at a higher resonating level. So we're going to go through those 4 different teams you can try, and then we're going to go through all the different teams you can try once moving to hell mode, and to try and get your highest score, and the team which worked out the best for me. And a big shout out to AFK Analytica Discord because I got these teams from that Discord server. I'll leave a link to their Discord in the description of this video if you would like to join, because there's a lot of team sharing which goes on in those Discord chats. Okay, let's begin by talking about the different teams and the team that I used to execute the boss on epic difficulty. So we're going to take a look at that team first. And any one of these teams can work. So if you have Smokey built up, then this is the team you're going to want to go for. For example, if you don't have Mikola. Mikola is not necessary for Alpha Bear. Smokey can do just fine. And here is going to be the formation. Rainier position swapping the Odie with the magic charm bonus going on to Odie. Odie will be your frontline tank to tank out the Alpha Bear. The Alpha Bear, you need to have one hero to tank the frontline melee range. Otherwise, the Alpha Bear is going to unleash a pretty high damage attack onto your entire team. But at the same time, you're not going to want to have multiple heroes in melee range because the boss has an attack which will stack all the melee range heroes with honey. And so he will stack up your team faster if you have more than one melee hero. Apart from that, you have Smokey to sustain your team, Coco to protect your team. The boss deals a lot of damage, a lot of burst damage. He reduces the effectiveness of healing, and so having a powerful healer like Smokey is pretty important. So let's take a look at the replay. Okay, we can watch it in 2 times speed. We have a lot of things to go through today. So, attack and haste buff from Smokey going to go off onto your entire team. From this position, Lily May and Odie are your 2 key damage dealers. Tide Call spell is very useful in Alpha Bear and also in any boss that deals a lot of damage, because you can reduce the attack of the boss with the debuff, and you can also increase the damage the boss takes. And yeah, so it's a good option for increasing your damage and also increasing your survivability. Okay, so Lily May, Odie just bursting down the boss, damage reduction of Coco. Mythic Plus on Coco again will be important to have the extra shielding for your tank, for your protection. But yeah, as you can tell here, pretty safe execution. You're going to need to get around 94% or up to 96% before the execution triggers, but we had 27 seconds left. And so I think even if you could get up to like level 611 resonating level, you should be able to execute the boss today. So that is something to look forward to. Okay, the damage chart shows that Odie and Lily May did almost equivalent damage. Smokey's damage is beginning to increase. As we get further and further to the endless mode of these Dream Realm bosses, the damage from Smokey is going to increase from his blue aura, because usually in endless mode he deals up to 6 billion damage with his blue aura, but at the lower levels his damage is not, like pre-endless, his damage is not that high. Okay, so that was the one team you can use to execute. Now, I'm not going to watch the replays of the other teams that people use to execute the boss, but I'll just show you the formations in case this one team doesn't work for you. Here was another team that someone used to execute the Alpha Bear boss on epic difficulty. This time, position swapping Smokey into the front. It can maybe protect your Odie a little bit longer. The boss will aggro and attack the Smokey more. But otherwise, the heroes are the same. You have the same artifact, which is the Tide Call spell. And this was able to execute the Alpha Bear boss. And actually, it got a really high score even on the Hell mode difficulty. So this is also a team you can run in Hell mode. And I'll talk about that later and we can watch the replay. So yeah, let's watch the replay of this, because this is actually a really viable team for Hell mode as well. So when we watch it, Odie takes the initial aggro of the boss, but I wonder, does Smokey begin to be targeted here, or is Odie always taking the damage? Because the only reason I could think of it being better to position swap the Smoke... Oh, it could be that you actually want Odie taking the aggro, so that your Smokey is safe and protected. Yeah, because one thing that usually happens in the Alpha Bear boss is when he goes for his burst attack, he ends up killing your Smokey, and then your team from that point on is just like dwindling in health, and they're eventually going to go down. But if Smokey can survive throughout and be in a good position to buff up the entire team, that is an advantage. So I think that's probably the reason why he's effectively used and Rainier swapped. Yeah, because Smokey is very protected in this position, and he's not being targeted. Interesting. Like, you're giving up the attack buff from Rainier and the attack charms onto your damage dealer, which is Odie, and that is why this team cannot get quite as much damage as the other team I'm going to show you, but still, 33.4% of the boss's health, 86 billion or so damage is still really good. The Smokey survives really well from this position, so this is definitely a good formation for you to try. It can kill on Epic, and it can do well on Hell mode. So it's a versatile team. Okay, and the other teams which manage to kill on Epic difficulty are not as good on Hell mode. Here was one of them, Resonating Spell on the Lily May, Magic Charms of Rainier on Lily May as well, and Odie being position swapped to the front, Coco and Smokey again. And then finally there was a team like this, which is the same exact team as the previous one, but rather than Resonating Spell on the Lily May, having Verdant Spell. And especially if you're having difficulty surviving towards the end, Verdant Spell might be a better option for you. It provides haste for your supports to allow them to cycle their skills a bit more frequently, and it gives penetration to Lily May, and I think attack speed to Odie. So it's still a pretty offensive option as well, and it gives overall good defensive and offensive stats. So that can be a good option. So these are basically the 4 different formations you can try for executing on Epic difficulty. Now talking about the best Hell mode teams, one of them was the one that we showed, which was the Smokey team, I believe. Yeah, so there's another version of the Smokey team. Rather than position swapping the Smokey, you can position swap the Odie. But that team where you position swap the Smokey, I think this is a good team for you to try if you're having difficulty surviving for long enough, because this way the Smokey is kind of protected from the aggro of the Dream Realm boss, which is an interesting strategy. But these other ones, we'll watch a couple of the replays here. So we have 2 Smokey teams and 2 Mikola teams. Overall, the Mikola teams did a little bit better than the Smokey teams. So if you have Mikola built to Supreme Plus, like plus 10 exclusive equipment, or at least plus 5, then these are probably going to be the teams you want to try. But we can watch the replay of, I think this is probably the best version of the Smokey team. Yeah, Odie being position swapped. Let's take a look at this replay. So this is very similar to the last one we watched with Smokey being position swapped, but this time you have Odie gaining all of the value because he's going to have the magic charm bonus from Rainier and also the attack buff from the position swap. But as you notice, Smokey is taking the aggro, which is the problem. Even though Lily May was in the front position, because she becomes untargetable at the beginning of the match, so Smokey takes the aggro. So that's why I'm pretty sure the only reason to position swap Smokey and have Odie in the front was in order to have Odie take most of the aggro from the boss to protect your Smokey. Because here what can happen is the Smokey could go down prematurely, and then that is going to reduce your damage because you're going to lose your healing, and then your team will probably end up wiping a bit earlier. Like right now Smokey goes down with 24 seconds left. So this was the difference. It still managed to get a higher score because Odie and Lily May survive for long enough to get off their damage. And yeah, but that was the problem. And that is why position swapping the Smokey would be good. And this was also pretty lucky, I feel like, in the end. Lily May survived for an extra Rainstorm Valet to get another 2% or so of the boss's health. And in total, Lily May outdamaged the Odie. So that is a team that you can try. And now I think I'm going to come to... So the other team was this one with Resonating Spell on the Odie in the back. Otherwise, it's very similar, because whether the Smokey is in the front position or where Lily May and have them swapped, Smokey is still going to be taking the aggro of the Alpha Bear boss because Lily May becomes untargetable at the beginning. We saw that even when Smokey was here and Lily May was here in the last replay. So this is just going to be like, rather than going for Tide Call spell, try to increase your damage through Resonating Spell on Odie. But overall that got around about the same damage, so both could be good options to try. Then moving on to Mikola. Mikola on average was doing better. So you have this position, because with Mikola, you do not want Mikola taking aggro. You want Mikola to survive for as long as possible, because she gives the range defense to your team buff, and also she gives the haste. And she can heal your team as well. And she gives your defensive buffs from her bell, like her, I think it's called a Vigorous Bell. Vigorous Qual. It gives a pretty big defense buff to her allies who are targeted with the healing. So one of them, Verdant Spell, was an artifact which did better, and one of them was like Tide Call Spell. Otherwise, the team formation are going to be exactly identical, like the arrangement of the heroes. So I'm going to show you my top ranking score, and then we're going to do one final run, upgrading my resonating level just by 1 level on my damage dealers, and see whether we can beat my record. So Tide Call Spell did better than Verdant Spell. And Resonating Spell is probably not a good idea, yeah, because if you have Mikola being positioned straight from the back, it isn't a good idea to have the Resonating Spell, because Mikola is not a good use of Resonator. She can only cast her ultimate 1 time. She doesn't need to keep recasting her ultimate, so the energy regeneration is wasted on her. And also the attack buff is kind of wasted on her because she's not a major source of damage. So with Odie up in the front here, he's going to be in the buff field of the Curd Sphere of Mikola, and Lily May will also be there. So they're both going to be permanently buffed throughout the duration of the fight. Things get a little bit risky here. Like, look at the health of all of the heroes. Rainier barely died there, but he managed to survive. So I think there's definitely RNG involved in this run. And also, like, if you're probably like 611 resonating level rather than 621 that I have or above, then this team could be even more difficult to survive, and then maybe the other teams with Smokey might be better, because generally Smokey will protect, like, keep your team alive for longer, but Mikola, the damage burst you have is higher, and especially if she can permanently be buffing up your heroes, your damage dealers, which were Lily May and Odie. So that was a pretty good run. Okay, now we're going to try another run, because I think maybe if I did multiple runs I'd be able to break my record. This was the team which was the best. We'll just go ahead and change the levels. This hardly makes any difference, to be honest, because it's only 1 level. And really the only one big level you can get for an upgrade is the 1 levels ending in 1. For example, from 620 to 621, from 630 to 631. That is a big upgrade, because you gain major stat boost on the first level of the next 10 levels you have. But these levels from 624 to 625, it hardly makes any difference, and the RNG matters much more than that, or even the level of your exclusive equipment and ascension and stuff. Okay, so let's take a look at what can be done here. And if you want to have like free to play replacements, basically you just want to have 1 hero in melee range of the boss. So for example, if you're not running Rainier at Mythic Plus, you can run Thorin, and then you can run Smokey Coco. You want Smokey for healing and attack buff, you want Coco for damage reduction, and then you want your damage deals, Odie and Lily May, or Odie and Merrily, Odie and Corrin, whichever damage dealer you have the most invested. If you're running Corrin or Merrily, they should be Mythic Plus. Odie can run even before Mythic Plus and be pretty good. Okay, so the whole team is surviving pretty well. Rainier goes down, 19 seconds left. Yeah, the key for Alpha Bear is that you will want to survive for as long as possible, and in this team formation, it looks like my team doesn't have difficulty surviving other than right at the end, whereas only Lily May who is out surviving all of the rest. Yeah, but, and so it just comes down to the RNG of your damage and the crits you land in order to increase your score. But overall, this is pretty consistently getting above 90 billion for me. I don't think I can break my record, to be honest. If we take a look at the top ranker, they haven't shared their formation. I think it's probably Splash from my guild, I suspect, yeah, because he is always number 1. If we take a look at all of the district rankings for all the previous days, he's always number 1, because he always runs the best team. He has the highest investment on all of his heroes. So even if he's using the same formation as me, he's bound to get a bit of a higher score. But still, 95 billion, definitely not bad at all. So hopefully this video was good, gave you a good idea of the teams you can try for Alpha Bear. Thankfully, they're pretty obtainable options, like for example, not relying on Tailene, not relying on you can even run Smokey, for example. It doesn't heavily rely on Mikola. The Smokey team is also a viable option, just getting slightly less damage for Hell mode. And so if you have Odie and Lily May built up, you should be pretty, and Rainier at Mythic Plus, you should be pretty good to get a high score and compete for the top ranks of Alpha Bear. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Good luck getting a high score. I'll hopefully see you guys in the next video. And until then, everyone, peace out for now, and thank you for watching. I thought Tassi was coming at reset today. I don't know if she's going to be coming out at the patch, because we're going to get a patch around 7 hours after reset today. So if she does come out, then I'm going to be checking, and hopefully then we can record a video of recruiting for her and also testing her. And I can't wait to do that. And hopefully it'll give you a good idea of whether you should be recruiting for her or not. But thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video. And until then, everyone, peace out for now.